Now it has been moved back.
The modern military was formed on February 8, 1948. Kim Jong-un is choosing to mark the founding date to that date to focus on the fact that North Korea is a full-fledged nuclear state that has strong military power.
Experts say that the parade is highly likely to show off North Korea's nuclear weapons. It will be a way for leader Kim Jong-un to make a statement to the international community that despite its diplomatic peace gestures, the North's military and nuclear capabilities remain strong. If the celebrations do take place on February 8th, they would fall on the eve of the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. Although the North may not have designated the date directly because of the Olympics, it is likely that it wanted to take advantage of the global event as a means to display more power.
Pompeo says Pyongyang's efforts mean more risk for the United States. He says North Korean leader Kim Jong-un wants to use nuclear weapons not just to stay in power, but also as a way to reunify Korea under his regime. The Trump administration has been putting more pressure on Pyongyang to denuclearize and to stop its missile program.
The president is intent on delivering this solution through diplomatic means. It is the focus. It has been uniformly that for now 365 days. It remains so today.
But Pompeo says the CIA is working on other options if a diplomatic solution is not possible.
CIA Director Mike Pompeo said Tuesday that North Korea is moving ever closer to putting Americans at risk, and that he believes leader Kim Jong-un won't rest until he's able to threaten multiple nuclear attacks against the U.S. at the same time. North Korea is ever closer to being able to hold America at risk, Pompeo said at the American Enterprise Institute, a conservative-leaning think tank, in Washington. I want everyone to understand that we are working diligently to make sure a year from now I can still tell you that they are several months away from having that capacity. Pompeo said North Korea's nuclear weapons program has developed at a very rapid clip, but that Kim is hoping for an arsenal of nuclear weapons, not one, not a showpiece, not something to drive on a parade route. He wants the ability to deliver nuclear weapons from multiple missiles fired simultaneously. That increases the risk to America, Pompeo said. It's unclear how well the United States could defend against multiple missiles fired from North Korea at the same time.
They have moved at a very rapid clip, make no mistake about it. Their testing capacity is improved, and the frequency that they have tests which are materially successful has also improved, putting them ever closer to a place where Americans can be held at risk. I think that's a true statement. It is also analytically true that Kim Jong-un will not rest with a single successful test. Right? The logical next step would be to develop an arsenal of weapons. That is, not one, not a showpiece, not something to drive on a parade route on February 8th, but rather the capacity to deliver from multiple firings of these missiles simultaneously. And that increases the risk to America, and that's the very mission set that President Trump has directed the government to figure out a way to make sure it never occurs. So we're taking the real world actions that we think will make unmistakable to Kim Jong-un that we are intent on denuclearization. We're counting on the fact that he'll see it. We're confident that he will. And then we will continue to have discussions about how to achieve that denuclearization.
North Korea's ambassador to the Conference on Disarmament is denouncing the United States' hostile policies. He says the U.S. is raising tensions on the Korean peninsula while his country is making efforts to de-escalate the conflict. Han Dae-sung made the remarks in a meeting in Geneva on Tuesday. He accuses the U.S. of bringing military assets to the region under the pretext of security for the upcoming Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang.
This is a dangerous act of throwing wet blanket of a current positive atmosphere of inter-Korean relations, which could drive station once again into extreme phase of confrontation.
Washington and Seoul have agreed to suspend the drills ahead of the Games next month. But Han is requesting the U.S. permanently halt its joint military exercise with South Korea if it wants the inter-Korean relations to improve. The U.S. ambassador on disarmament says attempts to disrupt international coordination will fail.
If the North wishes to return and be in the good graces of the international community, it knows what it has to do. It has to take steps toward denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. International pressure on North Korea is profound, it is intense, and it will continue.
Japan's UN disarmament ambassador says regional cooperation against North Korea is necessary.
In order to work towards the nuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, it is necessary for the international community as a whole to coherently cooperate and maximize pressure on the DPRK.
We've said, the CIA has said this publicly before, it is more than just regime preservation that we are concerned he will use. We talk about the nuclear risk all the time. That gets the brunt of the world's attention, and appropriately so. But his conventional forces alone, right, close to 1 million under arms, depending on how you count them, is no small thing. And so we do believe that Kim Jong-un, given these tool sets, would use them for things besides simply regime protection. And that is to put pressure on what is his ultimate goal, which is reunification of the peninsula under his authority. And so we don't think it's the case that he's simply going to use this tool set for self-preservation. We think he'll use it in a way that is either, you call it what you will, call it coercive is perhaps the best way to think about how Kim Jong-un is prepared to potentially use these weapons.
Carrying the largest conventional payload of both guided and unguided weapons in the Air Force inventory, the multi-mission B-1 Lancer is the backbone of America's long-range bomber force. The B-1 can rapidly deliver massive quantities of precision and non-precision weapons against any adversary, anywhere in the world, at any time. The B-1's blended wing and body configuration combine to provide long